Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's 2019, folks, and I am excited to be here with you. I trust you are also excited, Just completed a full year, 2018, and it was fun. I have learned a lot. I hope you guys have learned a lot. There was a lot of struggles, but there was also a lot of reward for 2018 for me. And as we approach 2019, I want to talk about some stuff that, we can do differently, because that's how we continue to grow, to learn from our mistakes, take an assessment of the things we do in the past and figure out what's not working so we can improve at it. As always, I want to say thanks to God for sparing me for seeing another year. Unfortunately, as you know, not all of us were fortunate to make it into 2019. I'm sure you probably have folks that didn't make it 2019. So for us who are here, it's a great time to be alive, and it's a great time to improve on our progress with music. So let's talk about 2018. If you've been following my channel for a while now, there's been lots of information. I stress the importance of practicing and structure and all of that. So take a look back at your year in 2018, 12 months, 52 weeks. How would you rate that year? So I want you to do a little exercise with me. Get a little pencil paper, and you're going to draw 3 faces. A smiley face, a sad face, and a meh face. And you're going to circle the one that best fits your 2018 year. Smiley face would be you made a lot of progress, a lot of strides. You were able to accomplish a lot of the goals you set out. And the meh face would be, I got some things done, but it really wasn't that much of a great year. I could have done more to improve on my playing. And obviously, the sad face means you didn't do anything at all. You're still the same place you were at 2018. And why I want you to do that little assessment is because if you don't know where you are, or if you don't know what you have done, you'll most likely continue to do the same thing, hoping to improve. So we first have to take a step back and assess. What did I do? Now, after you draw your smiley face, if you get a sad face or a meh face, you're going to write now below that, what were the things that hindered you from having a smiley face? So think about that. 2018. I know there's a lot of struggles and trials and financial problem and kids problem and parents problem and, for some of you, health problems. And a lot of those things are unavoidable. But for the things that were avoidable, that you said, if I just cut back on my TV time, take 20% of my time invested into watching TV programs and invest that into practicing, I would have accomplished more. Or probably I'm just a big procrastinator. We all trouble from procrastination. What can you do to help your procrastination? At this point in time, there are tons of resources online about time management and things you can do to sort of kickstart yourself out of certain procrastination rut. You can look into that. One of the things I like to do to sort of force myself out of procrastination is to figure out the time of day that you work best. Because not all of us function at our best throughout the entire day. Some of us are morning people. Like my dad's a morning person. He's up at like 5 a.m. every morning. Me, 5 a.m.? Honestly, I don't roll out of bed before 8 for nobody. And I know some of you guys might be like, what? But true. Part of the beauty of being self-employed, you get up when you want. But even when I was in high school, I struggled to get to school on time. I'm not a morning person. I'm a night person. I could stay up till 2 a.m. No problem. Every night. In fact, I've been going to bed around 1 a.m. every night since like the past 15 years. And I've just learned that, I function better at nights. I get most of my work done at night. And so you have to ask yourself, when's my best time of day? Some people function best in the evenings, between say like a 3 to 7 p.m. time frame. And you might be a night person like me too. But knowing the time of day that you're at your best, or when you find it's most easiest for you to work, helps, because that's the time you want to put the practicing in. If you put the practicing in the time that you'll get it done, then you'll most likely get it done. Instead of trying to force yourself into a frame that says, well, I got to be up at 6 a.m. and practice. If you're not a morning person, then what's the likelihood of you getting that done? It's the same thing, analogy, as it works with the gym. Some people like to go to the gym in the morning before work. Some people like to go to the gym in the midday. They take a break, they go to the gym. Some people like to go to the gym in the evenings. I find, surprisingly, that when I go to the gym in the mornings, I can get it done. Because if I leave the gyms to the evening, I'll just most likely not get it done. Why? Because that's when I do most of my work. Evenings and nights when I focus on the bulk of my work. So trying to schedule gym time in that time, I just don't usually get it done. But if I knock it out in the morning, then I get my gym in for the day. So it's important to figure out what time of day works for you and see if you can pencil in practicing time then. So again, that's the exercise. Your smiley face, pick the smiley face that works best for you. Is it a sad smiley face? Is it a meh smiley face, which means you're in the middle? Or is it a happy smiley face, which means you're pretty comfortable with your accomplishments for 2018? Once you assess that, you find out what are the things that constantly hinders you from making progress on the piano. And I'm going to talk about some tips in a little bit that I want you to keep in mind as you go through 2019 that will help you, or should keep you on the straight and narrow. But first you got to assess the year. Because I get way too many emails from people who have been playing for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they're not happy with where they are. And part of that is that we're not holding ourselves accountable. We're not assessing what we're doing wrong so we can change it. And some part of it is just procrastination keeps us in this rut. So assess your year, figure out where you are. And then we're going to talk now about some things you can do going forward for 2019 so we can really accomplish our goal. All of you watching this is because you want to learn how to play the piano, or you want to get better at playing the piano. And so the first thing starts with practicing. Practice makes perfect. In everything in life, it's practice. You don't wander your way into excellence. You don't wander your way into being an advanced player. It has to be a deliberate and precise, day by day, week by week, step by step, discipline action that's taken for you to accomplish those goals. And it first starts with practicing. So if you don't practice, it's something you have to start to do. Yeah? Remember, there's no magic bullet that's going to help you to become a good player. No magic bullets, no shortcut. It starts with first carving out an hour or half hour a day or every other day. And say that's practicing time, and that's when you practice. So that's tip number 1 for 2019. Start practicing if you haven't been practicing. Tip number 2 is efficient practicing. Because a lot of you guys and girls don't know how to practice. And I struggled with this for years. I thought if I just sit around the piano for an hour and I played everything that comes to mind, then I get up, I practice. But then after weeks and months, I realized I wasn't really improving. And I was, would ask myself, but I'm practicing, so why am I not getting better? I wasn't really practicing. I was just sitting down and regurgitating things that I already know, or just doodling. There was no structure, And without structure, it's chaos. And so efficient practicing starts with having a structure. What is the structure? It's knowing what to practice, how to practice. What to practice and how to practice, because we're all at different skill level. Some of you are beginners, some of you are intermediates, some of you are, strong intermediate, but you've been stuck, don't know how to get to advanced. And so we have to practice different things based on our skill level. Yeah, and so knowing how to practice, that's what it is. What to practice will be according to your skill level. So if you're a beginner, you just started playing keyboard 6 months ago, your sole purpose should be focused on fundamentals. Fundamentals, building that foundation. And if you want to know more about fundamentals for beginners as it relates to practicing, you want to check out the Beginner's Practice template over at Piano Lesson with Warren. There you'll get a structure of, okay, I'm a beginner. These are the things I need to be focused on. And this is the way I need to break them up into categories and sections so I can consume everything in a logical way. If you're an intermediate player, I also have an intermediate practice template over at pianolessonwithwarren.com, and you can get that. As an intermediate player, your practice structure should be a little bit different than the beginner. You're building on the stuff that you completed as a beginner, so you can be a strong intermediate player. If you're an intermediate advanced player, you can still work with the intermediate practice template. So that's tip number 2, efficient practicing. Because if you just sit down with no goal in mind, no structure, then chances are you're not doing the things that you need to do for you to grow. Step number 3 is stop procrastinating. That's it. We all suffer from procrastination. Some people suffer from it more than some. But at some point in time, you have to be accountable for your procrastination. In college, I was a serious procrastinator. I would do all my assignments like the week before they're due. And that would affect my grades. I didn't get as good a grade as I could have gotten because I rushed to work. And that's something as I, became a junior or a sophomore in college, I realized, all right, I can't continue with this freshman mentality of just doing everything last minute. I have to snap out of it and give myself time so I can do good work and get better grades. Procrastination is the killer for creativity and progress. And you just got to stop procrastinating. The good news is that when you have a structure of what to practice and how to practice, it helps to solve procrastination. Because in reality, a lot of the times why we procrastinate is fear. We're fearful. We dread the amount of work. And you look at this mountain called piano and the amount of knowledge that is required to be an advanced pianist. And it just feels like something that you'll never be able to reach. It's overwhelming, and you're just like, it's crippling, and it's easier to make excuses and to procrastinate. But once you have a structure, a roadmap, and a path to follow, then you realize, I can do this. Yeah, I can knock out 2 scales a day, a few chord progressions, and see if you just look at it sort of with blinders on, the things that you need to focus on each day, instead of looking at 5 years worth of work, just look at, okay, this is what I need to focus on today, then tomorrow. And then in 5 years is when you see the astronomical growth. So that's one of the tips for solving procrastination. Having a structure and a plan as to how to practice. And those 2 mentioned tutorials, the beginner's guide, the beginner's practice template and the intermediate's practice template will help you to overcome procrastination. And the 4th tip for 2019 that I want to leave with you guys today is to find a tutor. Yes, find a tutor. You wouldn't perform your own surgery, right? When you get sick, you go to the doctor, right? When your car is not driving the way it should, you bring it to a mechanic. If you want to learn about math and science and literature and engineering or whatever it is, physics, you find a tutor. You find a specialist, someone who has walked the path and knows the subject very well to tutor you. Now, the same thing goes for piano. If you want to grow faster, you need some help. You need some guidance. There are few people who are able to study on their own without any tutor and become amazing at it. There are examples all around. But for the most of us, like myself, we need tutors. 2019 is going to make 16 years since I've been playing the piano. But for the first 10 years, I had a tutor. Always. Week after week, year over year, I had a piano teacher that I studied with. Now, if you can't find a local piano teacher, that's great. That's why I am here. You can join my programs over at pianolessonwithwarren.com for a fraction of the cost of an actual tutor. If you don't want to study with me, that's fine. But find somebody that will help you. Having a tutor who knows what they're doing, a tutor that can already play the stuff that you're interested in learning will help you to get from point A to B faster. Instead of you trying to do this thing by trial and error, a tutor helps you to navigate that path, avoid the pitfalls and the roadblocks so you can get there faster. So just get a tutor. That's all I'm saying. Get a tutor. There's lots of information here on YouTube, but in reality, YouTube is not the ideal place to be serious about learning music. You can pick up things from YouTube. I'm sure a lot of you guys have learned a lot from my channel, but for more detailed structure, that's the word for 2019, detailed and structured lesson, sort of like hand-holding that takes you from beginner to intermediate, advanced to advanced. You're going to need to work with one person. Because if you're following 16 different piano channels, there's going to be a lot of different information being thrown around. There's going to be a lot of different approach. And by no means you're going to be confused. You're going to be overwhelmed. And what happens when you get overwhelmed? Procrastination sets in. So it's easier to find one person and just focus on the things that person has to offer. Find a tutor. Whether it be a physical tutor in your location or an online tutor that teaches the things that you want. So those are the 4 tips I have for you for 2019. Practice makes perfect. If you haven't been doing regular daily practice or every other day practice, you got to start there. Forget about everything else. Carve out daily, weekly, monthly times to practice. Secondly, efficient practicing. It's not good enough to just sit at the piano day after day without a structure. In fact, you're wasting time. Might as well go back to watching TV. You need a structure, you need a plan so you can self-assess over weeks and months, yeah? If you're not able to grade yourself and measure your growth, then you don't really know what you're doing. And so having efficient practicing helps that. Step number 3, stop procrastinating. You have to take responsibility as an adult. Most of you watching this channel, I am assuming, is above the age of 15. If you're above the age of 15 in my book, you're old enough to take responsibility for how you spend your time. And so part of breaking out of procrastination is to have a plan so you can consume the information you need to consume on a daily basis in bite size, yeah? And step number 4, find a tutor, whether it be online or offline, but find someone that you trust, that you can work with and grow with. This is how I did it. And if you want to be a player as good as I am, then take my advice. Find a tutor. I invested 10 years and thousands of dollars. When I say thousands of dollars, I mean thousands of dollars, because out of those 10 years, 8 of those years were spent in universities. That was costly. Now, I'm not saying you got to go to university. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying having a tutor helps. For those of you guys who like pianolessonwithwarren.com, thank you. I'm sure you're learning a lot, and I'll continue to do my best to make those programs as good as they can be for you to learn everything you need to do to master the piano by ear. So that's it, guys. That's all I have for you today. First tutorial of 2019. I'm excited because there's going to be a lot of new things coming out this year. Lots of tutorials, obviously. Lots of music. I'm just excited, you know. The year for growth is 2019. And I want all of you guys to be growing with me, yeah? So you can really achieve your musical goals. Because at the end of the day, if we're not growing, then we'll remain the same. And I'm a big advocate for growth, especially musical growth. So if you're new to the channel and you still have not gone over to pianolessonwithwarren.com, then you're missing out. There's just, at this point, let me see. At this point, there are about 300 and about 12 lesson videos on the website. 312 lesson videos on pianolessonwithwarren.com. You can become a subscriber. You can purchase DVDs. You can purchase downloads. There's free stuff over there, LMS files, MIDI files. Check out pianolessonwithwarren.com. All right? And also, if you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button, because when you subscribe, you're notified every time I put up new content, and you want to stay on top of those, yeah? Because every week, every Wednesday, new tutorial is going to be coming at you, yeah? From Piano Lesson with Warren. Also, don't forget to hit that little notification bell. Give me a thumbs up and comment below so I can hear your thoughts. What are your goals for 2019? Post those below and I'll jump in after and chat with you guys about the best way you can achieve those musical goals. All right? So until then, what do we say? Keep listening, keep singing, and keep practicing, because this is how you'll continue to grow as a musician. Have a blessed day and catch you next week.